And welcome back, everybody, to ESL Open Cup Asia number 147. I'm, of course, your host, ZvP. It's been so long since we've casted one of these weeklies, and with me for the very first time casting an ESL weekly, everyone, welcome, Chase. you're muted.
I was hoping you looked like you're losing it.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Welcome everyone. Welcome, Light. Good to have you here. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's been so long since we've even casted together, so thank you so much for joining me today for this lovely morning Sunday of StarCraft, and I'm gonna do my best to bring you some Zergs.
Oh, you're a good lad. There's still Protoss, but that's okay as long as there's at least one Zerg. But yeah. Let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's get into it, because spawning in at the bottom left-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have the Indonesian Protoss player himself representing Team GDA. It is Quantel.
And spawning in that top right position, it is playing for Onside Gaming. The Taiwanese Zerg himself, Heavy King. It is Rex.
Heavy King.
Yeah, his name literally is Heavy King Lei.
Oh.
But I'm glad you introduced Quantel, because I would have introduced him as a Singapore player. So I don't know him very well.
Chase, come on. Blisk is the one from Singapore. You're like, all these Southeast Asian Protosses are the same. We're casting Ranger, right?
There's so many good Protoss players from there's Bliss, there was Lobo, there was what's his name? You know, that other Protoss from Singapore. But yeah, I'm just excited because not only do we have a ZvP to start off with, we have Rex, who is an interesting player.
Definitely. As we get into this, I would kindly ask you to either turn up your mic or move closer to the microphone a little bit. The quality is good, it's just they're a little bit quiet.
Just boost the gain, baby.
Oh my god.
Too much.
It's we can work with this now. This is good.
Okay. I dropped it a little bit.
Beautiful. But yeah, you're right. It's great to see a couple of things, right? A couple of things are coming into this series. One, Quantel is from our own region, from Southeast Asia / Oceania. But he's not the most active player, He shows up basically every DreamHack season, right? Every qualifier he shows up, and that's kind of it. Which is why it's interesting to see him in an ESL weekly, because he's typically not very active, and the other important thing is that whenever he does show up, he's typically in form.
100%. And speaking of form, there's some really good players in this tournament who've had some really good results lately. Give me her another one who's been pretty cracked as of late. But yeah, it's good to see these high level players, but also these guys who aren't that upper echelon. It's good to see them, and also cast them early on, because even though they're still wonderful players in their own right, when you go up against this competition, you might not see them later on. So.
Yeah, we have to cherish the Zergs while we can. I understand what you're saying.
Exactly.
But yeah, I did see some people cheering for Dark in the chat, and hey, I'm sure we'll get some Dark later on. Very tempting to go for him early on, but as you were saying, we want to feature some of these players while we can. And I mean, again, we're good friends with Rex, or at least I know you have some close ties with him. I know he has been leveling up recently. You were talking about these higher echelon of players, and I feel like Rex is trying to break into that scene. He's been investing so much time into the game. He recently joined Onside Gaming. He's been spending time in Korea, and yeah, these ESL weeklies are really his opportunity to prove himself and to show off to the kind of international audience.
100%. And Rex has been around for a long time. During Wei Spider back in 2012, 2013. But also Quantel, he's also been playing, I'd probably say a bit more on and off, but recently he's, the past couple of years, he's kind of gone up that extra level as well. I'm probably not to the level that I still call him the underdog against Rex, but he's a very good Protoss player. And as we see here, it looks like a Stargate opening for the Twilight Forge follow-up, so it looks like we're going to be possibly seeing maybe Hero Star as possible. very kind of economic opener for them. So.
Yeah, I'm honestly really excited to see Quantel go for this, because typically when I remember Quantel, I remember him, I mean, this was a year ago, but kind of abusing Sky Toss in a way, you know, back in the Void Ray meta, double Stargate Void Ray meta, kind of memeing things up, being very hyper aggressive. So it's interesting to see him open up more meta, right? Open up much more economic, much more standard. As I say that, I have to eat my own words because he's not going for Blink.
No, charge lots. It'd be interesting to see if he starts up, you know, some Void Ray production here again. Maybe he wants to catch the Zerg off guard with a push, but yeah, no, again, it could just be that hero style isn't taking gases at his third base yet. Meanwhile, Rex is just saturating his third, getting a fourth on the way. It's a pretty full-on standard game. He's going to use these lings to scout, while Quantel uses his already quite damaged Oracle to get some scouting on his own. But even a High Templar Archives coming down as well. So yes, there we go. Gases at the third now for Quantel. So interesting to see how this plays out from this point.
Yeah, a very kind of different composition. Like, the opener was very standard, and you can think none the wiser if you're Rex. So far with his scouting information, he's been able to see everything's pretty normal, other than the sentries at the third base, which could be a little bit of a tip that it's going to be a ground-based composition. As we can see, we already have Immortals on the way, we have a Robotics Bay on the way for Colossi or Disruptors, or even both. So yeah, we're seeing something very, very different, something a little bit older, but maybe designed to catch your opponent off guard, maybe designed to catch an opponent who is blindly going into like +1, +2, like Ling heavy compositions.
You've even got, with the really fast High Templar Archives, you're kind of covering your bases a little bit in case the Zerg scouts a Robotics Bay. Viper's a very strong counter to pretty much anything that's robo-centric play. But yeah, it looks like Rex hasn't got the gas to his main yet. He's making a lot of road, so if he wants to go for a push, maybe he's recognized something. But that is given the circumstance, that's a very fast fourth base for Quantel. So I feel like this could do quite a bit of damage from Rex.
I mean,
too.
Yeah, Rex is basically all in. He's droned up to 62 workers. He was hiding his roaches in his main base. This observer here from Quantel is so important. He saw the entire army moving out. We have a creep highway being set up, and even though Quantel has seen it, he may not be able to stop it.
100%, and he's hitting right before the tech disruptor's not yet out, and they've only one Void Ray. As we see, 2 Immortals will help thin out this push, but there's so many numbers for Rex, and as you said, there's only 1 or 2 shield batteries here, and they all get taken out already. Like,
oh, exactly. There's going to be no overcharge. He recognizes that. He's trying to throw down his shield battery now, but it's a little bit too late. The first disruptor is going to come out, but Quantel was a little bit too greedy. He was cutting too many corners, and he just doesn't have an army right now.
No one trying to bait with that disruptor, the last kind of chance he has to hold here. He does have a 4th Nexus, so if he does hold it, in a pretty phenomenal spot, but that is so much Zerg, and I think, yeah, with getting on top of this disruptor as well, and the Immortals getting low, I think Rex is going to be taking pretty convincing game 1. Actually saves the Immortals.
I mean, I'm impressed that the Immortals survived, not gonna lie. But there are no more shield batteries, and I don't even think we saw an overcharge this game. The boys are being pulled to safety, question mark. But as we can see, like, there's nothing really to stop Rex. We do see another warp in of Zelts. We do see the Immortals on the high ground, but one of the most powerful things that Protoss has is that overcharge, and we never got to see it come into action.
Indeed, and you kind of see the Immortals, you know, they barely have any shields. As you said, the shield battery's compromised, and more weapons. There's a lot being floated by Quantel, a lot of energy on his Nexi, so maybe he walked a bit more, but no, it looks like Rex is going to take game number 1 with a pretty strong Roachling Rev Queen time.
Oh yeah, GG, well played, very strong timing. As we saw towards the tail end, he was intentionally hiding his roach count in his natural, so he was trying to keep things hidden, and maybe that's why, or that's what kind of tipped Quantel off, because he was doing some decent scouting with his Oracle, like, oh, okay, I don't see anything too crazy, I'll take a 4th base, I'll tech up. We were kind of praising him in a way about how he was going into Robotics Bay and Templar Archives and all this other tech, but it did kind of mean that he didn't really have an army as opposed to all that tech.
Isn't it crazy, like, how you can just beat, like, every tech in the book with Protoss with just tier 1 Zerg? Hey, look, I'm unbiased. I'm very unbiased. No, yeah, that was kind of a... Quantel, he's kind of caught in his own game plan. He's setting up for a later kind of stage of the game, and Rex just, just hit a timing. Even though he took the gases at the 3rd base, which is quite indicative of tech, he just drop it on Ravagers to make your all-in push even stronger. So
Mhm,
good moves by Rex there. Good kind of start to the series. But
mhm.
going to Waterfall now. So I believe would this be Quantel's map pick?
I believe so. I believe so. So a much smaller map, but as we saw, that may favor the Zerg, based off of that timing that we saw in game number 1.
Indeedly do. And speaking of Zerg, like we've got spawning in the bottom left position. He is a Zerg. He's playing for Onside Gaming, the Taiwanese Zerg. Did I mention he's Zerg? It's Rex.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Waterfall, we have the not Singaporean, the Indonesian Protoss player representing Team GDA, currently down in this series but not out. It is Quantel.
Oh, right. Do you see what I see?
What do you see?
Oh, not anymore. You moved the camera away. There's a
What's that?
gateway.
Oh,
We have a gateway. But yeah, pretty standard, I'd say.
Mhm. Yeah, standard opener so far. Yeah, I just want to say that it was a bit of a shame that Quantel didn't get into his game last game, right? Like he was getting into the swing of things, he was ramping up, but Rex was having none of it. He clearly just doesn't, he doesn't want to play a longer macro game against Protoss. This is not really what he wanted there.
Yeah, no. ZvP is one of those matchups where well, it's every matchup is like this, but just one small mistake, lapse in your micro or tension, and it can really, like, even if you're a favorite player, like throw you off, because Protoss has, unironically, they have a lot of tools, they have a lot of splash damage, and when it comes to engaging with Zerg, your armies are very brutal for the most part to late game. So, looks like in this case he wanted to push before any of that high tech, disruptors or splash damage from Templar came into play, and he had a very decisive timing with his 61 drone. So, would like to see Quantel maybe scout, check the drone count, use that sentry energy to see if he's droning his 4th base this time around. But yeah, different map, different situation.
Yeah, definitely. I think you raise a good point, right? Especially for opening up sentries. I know Protoss players are very tempted to just save that energy for force fields or any kind of Ling run bys, but there's also just so much value to be had in scouting, in recognizing what your opponent is up to as well. So maybe Quantel will be looking to respect his opponent a little bit more, or maybe looking to kind of turn the tables a little bit and be a little bit more aggressive. We'll see what he decides to do. As again, Zerg is typically the more reactive race, so we're kind of looking to see what Quantel will do to change how he plays.
Yeah, as we see, a cute little move, sending the Adept Shade out where the Overlord sees it, and then running the Adept into the main base actually cancels the Shade, so Rex doesn't know actually if the Adept is at home or if the Adept's going across. He would send a Ling Scout in to kind of run past while it saw the Adept Shade out. It would get sniped out. But yeah, looks like Oracle opening. Second Adept coming. I expect to see Quantel move out now that he's got the 2. Even if Rex Scouts the type of sort of tech that there is, it's too late. It's already on the way. But yeah, pretty standard, all things considered. He's going to have the timing with Rex's build. He's going to have 2 queens at each base in time for when the Oracle gets there. But he's at depths. He's only got 3 links on 5.
Yeah, he doesn't have too many lings, but it looks like enough to deal with this. We do see him making another handful of lings just in case. Just Rex playing this out as safely as possible, as you were saying. Skipping out on the spores for now, but he doesn't need them because of his queen positioning, so you're correct to point that out. Meanwhile, Quantel is going to be committing, I believe, yes, into at least a second Oracle, so very similar to the last game.
Yeah, definitely. And you see now, these links are going to come in. Not going to get out of too much done. You can see Scout confirmed third base. Pretty standard timing. With this timing of the 3rd, normally just means, yeah, it's 3rd base before extra tech is dropped, as we see Forge and Twilight going down now. But yeah, I do see Rex dropping his Sport the natural. It's positioned 3 queens per at each base. Generally, if you're a Zerg and you don't see either a Void Ray killing your Scouting Overlord or an Oracle about the 4th minute mark, it means that they are banking up most likely a second Oracle like this, or dropping Tech and Stargate just to test this wacky play. But actually, yeah, this is yeah, it's a lot of links on the way, like.
Yeah, we have a lot of links on the way here looking to try and deny this third base, and even though we have some nice Sim City here on these Adepts, as we saw earlier, Rex can overwhelm this because there was no shield battery. The Oracles turn around, but they did use a lot of their energy offensively across the map. Oh, but Lings, they don't commit. Okay, he will back off.
Back off indeed. Very cute positioning on the Stalker Warp in there, but as you said, yeah, that's, you know, the small kind of corner cut, not getting the shield battery there. Once Zerg sees it, the Oracles are across the map, they can feel a bit more aggressive. And speaking of aggressive, like, what are these Queens doing?
The Queens, are they lost or are they exactly where they need to be? Because obviously the defensive unit for Zerg can be used offensively. Where's Asher? If he was here, I thought this was meant to be a defensive unit, Kappa. As the Queens are here, Rex is of course going for an all-in. He is done with droning. He already has a couple of Ravagers to bust through the wall, and once again, Quantel just doesn't have that much to defend. Nice target firing there. The Oracle goes down.
Yeah, on my days, and this is kind of a, you see 5 gateways about to finish up, but this is an off-meta kind of push, you know, since the Queen nerf transfuse off creep happened, you don't see this anymore, and Protoss players are taking advantage of that, and Rex has actually said, no, I'm just going to push anyway, and Light, there's nothing else in the air, there's no production, these gateways are finishing now, but that's so much Zerg on the dance floor.
So much Zerg on the dance floor. The third base is going to go down. We can see Rex is droning up now. Looks like he's content with the damage that he's done. He's pulling the Queens back. I love the respect and the restraint that Rex is showing right now. He doesn't want to throw. He doesn't want to, again, overextend. But we can see with his Lingua Ravager, he's already breaking in once again.
That's right, and with this gateway style, you know, it's very momentum based. You know, you don't want to be losing your armies early on, let alone losing probably the game, which is the bigger kind of issue here. But probes are being pulled while Rex is droning, and I think, yeah, it's just gonna be, yeah, GG. Rex takes a quick 2-0 in this series.
GG, well played. 2 games in a row. Rex goes for some very crisp, very deadly timings. Once again, just not letting Quantel get into his game. Yeah,
that's it. And sometimes players, as you said, you know, Quantel is familiar with the kind of the Skytoss meta. He did like playing Skytoss. They feel more comfortable in that kind of certain stages of the game. You'll see a lot of really good players, they'll do is they'll identify, you know, your opponent has a game plan and they'll just throw some aggression or caution to the wind to kind of throw your opponent off, disrupt their game plan. I feel like we saw that with Rex here as he, you know, the Queens, you know, Quantel, he scouted, he saw everything standard, some Queens at home and a third base, but yeah, he just hit a Queen walk, which you don't see very often, and it works.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see it too often, so it's great to see it here. I think another thing that we need to remind everyone is that, again, that build also, I'm sure, is very map specific, something that you can do on Waterfall just because of how small it is and how short the rush distance is. So yeah, a build very catered towards the map itself, and as you were saying, once again, unscouted, despite the double Oracle, I'm sure a major part of it was that the Queen started to move out once the Lings went for that counterattack and forced the Oracle back towards the third base. So because of that, Quantel didn't have any vision in the middle of the map.
Yeah, no, that was a good point. Because even with the, you know, the Queens like pushing across the map, he even managed to send them back home, and the creep was already, he had a bit of a creep highway that was halfway across the already small map. So didn't need to commit, and unfortunately for Quantel, with his opener, which was quite similar to last game's opener, except he went to blink instead of charge, Rex just hit a decisive timing, but that's it. And meanwhile, like, shall we look at the rest of the bracket? Any updates?
We can look at the bracket, but I would like you to come to our lobby, please. There we go, because as we look at the bracket, it looks like Special was able to 2-0 Issy as well, and Special has been patiently waiting for the winner of the series we just casted.